Can we do this in our own strength? No. Can we preach in our own power? No. Can we be successful in doing the will of God without God with us? No. Anything that we desire to do, that he puts in our heart to do, is only because he gives us the strength. We can only do all things through Christ as he strengthens us.
Hey guys, we're on another trip seeing what God's doing in the Capital C Church around the world. So yesterday we went to Dallas, jumped on a plane, flew into St. Louis, jumped in a rental car, and then drove up to Springfield, Illinois. We're going to be spending a couple of days with our great friend, Pastor Jerry Doss, who's the pastor of Abundant Faith Christian Center here in Springfield, Illinois. So we're excited to take you along as we discover what God's doing here through this church in this community.
We had a situation where I had several women coming to me and talking about domestic violence. Okay. And, in the past, we always would say, well, we're going to pray for you. And that was good enough. But one particular day, it was almost like 19 years ago, right after we were here, that someone, after they received prayer, like the next few months, weeks, they lost their life in a domestic dispute. And the gentleman killed the woman, and then God spoke to my heart and said, hey, son, it's a good thing to pray, but then you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
So you need to put some things in action. That was the first time that we said, hey, we're going to buy a facility, and we're going to put women and children in there and have them protected.
Try to make it here as safe and comfortable as possible. We're trying to expand. We want a bigger house so we can serve more women. We want them to be more self-sufficient by the time they leave out the program. We want you, help you save, put money to the side so you can be self-sufficient at the end of the program. You can have your own. You don't have to go back to that bad situation, staying with someone or not having a place. That's our main focus, is to make sure when they leave here, they have their own and relying on themselves and not depending on someone else. These apartments are permanent, and they're for women and children with disabilities. So either the parent or the child. Everything we do for Haven House, we do for women here as well. Case management, advocacy, counseling, transportation needs, child care services, employment services, life skills, you name it.
There's been thousands of women that have come through there over a 20-year period that we've been able to provide housing, and not only them, their children as well. Some of them are adults now, and they'll come to me and say, hey, Pastor, I was a child, I was a frightened child, and I remember you all opening up Haven House to us. So it's been very, very rewarding, and I know it was a God thing.
We had the incredible opportunity to hear one of the life-transforming stories of how God has impacted one of these women through the ministry of Haven House. Our melder is currently studying to be able to counsel other women who have gone through situations similar to hers.
Before I came to Abundant Faith, I had 20 years of using crack cocaine and alcohol. Did a whole lot of things. I almost had a gun pointed to my face, had to jump out of cars, very suicidal. And one day I went to treatment and I got in a fetal position and I asked God to take the desire for crack and alcohol away from me. I was still very angry at God because my sister had got killed and I didn't understand God. I was mad at God. Then, like I said, that day I prayed, so I was still very confused and still very suicidal, even without the drugs.
Yeah.
And so I went to treatment and I asked this guy, I said, hey, I need a church. And he was like, hey, he went to another church, but he said, go to Abundant Faith. They help people. Because of the drugs that I had used, I had told myself that I was so dirty and nasty that I didn't want people touching me. And this guy named Rocky used to always hug me every time I came here. It was like God would send him to me. And so now I hug all the time. They just showed me so much love and they didn't reject me. They didn't talk about me because I had a past, and they just opened their arms. So God has blessed me with 16 years clean off crack cocaine, alcohol. Okay.
That's amazing.
I'm about to shout.
Yeah, there's a reason. Yeah, that's a reason to celebrate.
It had not been for my church family and the support group that I had that took the boys on and helped me raise them because I didn't know what to do with them. So God is so good.
So if Pastor Jerry and Gita were like standing in my position, what would you say to them?
I would say thank you. I would tell them, don't stop loving people for who they are. Right? Don't ever stop. Because you never know. You know, because they love me, I was able to love on my sons and love on other people.
We do a lot.
Yeah, you got your hands on a lot of things, but it's all related to helping people.
They didn't just recognize that I had a gift, but they said we want to utilize it. We want to find out what you can do.
Abundant Faith Christian Center reaches their community in so many significant ways. This is Paul's story, a man who ran a very successful business but threw it all away just to sustain his drug addiction. This is the redemptive story of how God used abundant faith to love him, to accept him for who he was, and through this brought him into a relationship with Jesus.
First time I hit that crack pipe, it was all over. I was gone. And over the course of the next year, I would say, that addiction grew stronger and stronger to the point where it was wildfire out of control. I remember going to my brothers and say, look, you guys, because I cared about them and I could see where my life was heading, and say, look, you guys need to buy me out before I take all of this down.
Wow.
And because I didn't want to do it to them and didn't want them to be disgraced or embarrassed. So, and you know, the other motive was I would get a real good, quick fix on cash. As, you know, when they bought me out, obviously there was a lot of money transacted there. And in the midst of all this, I went through a divorce, and I honestly don't remember any of the timeline. But in the midst of my divorce attorney happened to be a very devout Christian man. And this just goes to show you how God works. Not just was he a Christian man, but his assistant was a recovering Christian man. He had had a serious heroin addiction.
Wow.
And so the greatest thing that Nick was his name, and he introduced me to the Abundant Faith Christian Center. Sometimes I get emotional, so please forgive me.
You're fine.
I get emotional when I think about what God did and how he used the church, and I mean, God just started bringing men of God into my life. And I remember he took me to a banquet. This would have been in 1999. In fact, I was looking at a picture. I got to show you this picture of this about this same time here. This was me at my worst right there. And Nick introduced me to Pastor and to Gita, and they invited me to sit at their table with them. And you could tell I was beat up and tore up, and Pastor acted like nothing was wrong with me. You know, he just embraced me. Him and Gita both, and Nick, and you know, the different people of the church would come up and introduce themselves. And for the first time in so many years, I felt like somebody actually cared about me.
You never know, I think, when you're going into a place you've never been before, what to expect. And so far, every trip, especially this one, you've just been overwhelmed with what you're finding. Abundant Faith Christian Center is reaching their community in so many significant ways. We don't have time to tell all of the things that they're doing. I mean, not only do they have housing for women who've been victims of domestic violence, they have housing for senior citizens, both assisted living and independent living. They have housing for veterans who have found themselves in difficult situations. They have housing for prisoners who need help getting back into society. They have campuses that are reaching different parts of their community. One of those campuses is in an area of the city that's dominated by homelessness. And they have people that are suffering from hunger, they need shelter, and they're meeting the needs by giving them clothes, giving them food. They open up their building for a service just to minister to the needs of these people. It is incredible to see the hurt and the broken come into this place and receive the love of God. They're truly being salt and light. Abundant Faith is loving people the way Jesus would love them.
If there's one thing we constantly want to celebrate is the fact that he's been faithful, and he is. So in 25 years, it always reminds me, hey, I've never let you down yet, you know. So if you keep on following me, you're gonna always land on your feet. So I'm so thankful that he's faithful. So that's what we're celebrating more than anything.